down to episode number 86 as he checks the notes of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on the other screen over there, or in your other ear if you are listening on the podcast channels. It's Cam Blake in Hobart Town, Tasmania. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, Cameron Blake.
Nah, scrap that. Do the one we did before. Brendan just tried to do a brand new intro, and it was fantastic, and he doesn't like it, so we're going back to the old school.
No, which because I ripped it completely off another TV show, but that's fine.
Oh, did you? Which TV show was it off?
Doesn't matter. I'll let you work that out. Ooh.
All right, I'll have to. Well, I'll have to rewatch. But anyway, hello. Yeah. How you going?
You won't rewatch because I'm going to delete that bit. Well, thank you. Very, very well. Good. It's a big episode.
Huge.
Stay tuned,
episode.
Folks. We have the winner of our June photography competition, landscape photography competition. The theme was weather. We're going to announce that shortly. We're not going to make you wait until the very end like some channels will probably do. We are actually going to announce this near the front end.
Are we going to call them live on the podcast and say,
got his number? Got their number?
Oh, it's his.
I gave it away. I tripped up myself there, didn't I?
You can't say that anymore, Brendan. You can't say it's his or her. It's them or they, maybe.
With a name like that, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is a male. So sorry for the female.
Now this person's got a complete complex about their name. What's wrong? So anyway, but I'm going well. We have a big episode coming up, and I'm excited to make this announcement. But
good.
Do we have to do any other formalities first, or we just?
Yes, we do. We have to thank all our lovely people for liking, subscribing, and following the channel. The community is growing strongly. I'd like to give a shout out to Russell, who popped into the shop 2 days ago to say g'day. He said he was an avid listener to the show, been catching up on all the episodes.
Awesome.
I think he said he's up to around episode 70, which is fantastic. So in a few weeks' time, you'll hear this.
Right. So can we do the Russell joke?
You can.
What do you call a man in the tree?
Yeah, that's right. Very good. Nice. What do you call a girl with sausages on her head?
Barbie.
Correct.
What do you call a man with a shovel in his head?
Yes, okay, that's enough. This is not a comedy skit show.
It's stretching to be a photography show these days.
This is true. So thanks everyone for tuning in and following along the show. What we might do, Cam, is announce the winner right after we talk about our backgrounds. So we'll.
I thought you were going to say right after a message from our sponsors.
Our message from our sponsor is, technically it's Ocean Grove Camera and Photo, I guess. They're giving away the prize for this comp. So
yeah.
All right. They are. That would be me.
He is. So do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first to your background?
Heads or tails?
Tails.
It's a tail.
That's terrible. All right. You're in a mood today, aren't you?
You can go first.
All right. I'm going to cover up my little picture here. Okay. If my arm falls down because my arms are so sore from putting up a deck today. This is a shot I got the other day when I was out with my friend Jamie. We chased the snow for a day up in the highlands of Tassie, and we just had just blizzard snowstorm after snowstorm every sort of 10, 20 minutes that came through. And we're standing in this big open button grass plain, a little bit like the overland track. This is near Lake Sinclair, so you'd know where it is, Brendan. But we got these amazing storms coming through, and they were coming through a bit further south of us. So I took a shot looking over these button grass plains and gum trees there, and I really just love the mood, and you can actually see the snowflakes coming down and the whole shebang's going on there. So that's a color image. It looks sort of black and white, but it's actually a color image. But it was moody and awesome. I love being out in that weather and sort of being right in the elements with the camera. You got to be careful of your equipment, but
it's very monochromatic, isn't it?
It is. It's a bit hard for people at home maybe, but I might put this up on the website for the image of the week. But you can sort of see in the top of the trees, you can sort of see a little bit of green and yellows and things like that. So yeah, it was really good.
I just discovered that we do an image of the week on our website. Well done, you.
Yeah, you know what? Also, I've just updated our merchandise because the other day we said, "Hey, don't forget to buy your Down South Photo Show hoodies." And someone went, "There's no hoodies on your website."
That's why we have the best listeners in the world. They pick us up on everything and make sure that we fly this thing straight. So
I'll tell you what, we're flying with one engine and no wheels at the moment. But
how much is a hoodie, Cam? How much can people order a hoodie for?
Oh, okay. $65 plus delivery.
Beautiful. I want one.
It'll look a bit like It'll look a bit like this one, same sort of style, black and got a
What
hood.
about this one? Will it look a bit
That's
like
pretty
this
good
one?
as well.
Like this?
We've also got some T-shirts on there as well, coffee cups, stubby holders, mouse pads.
Right.
And if you do go back and listen to whatever the episode was on AI,
Yes,
you can also go get the
the
AI.
t-shirt that you were wearing during that.
Yeah, yeah.
I want a grey hoodie. Can we do that?
We can do grey. Yeah.
All right, great. I'm going to order one. I'm going to jump on dsps.com.au and order my own hoodie shortly.
Right. That's my photo. What's yours?
Oh, yeah, background. That's what we were talking about, wasn't it? One second.
Why is my chair all over the shop here?
I don't know, but it's more to do with my background. There we are.
Right.
Okay, so this was two weekends ago when I went up scouting locations for our Mallee Murray workshop. And this is actually, and we've talked about this before, Cam, the best conditions normally happen when you're getting out of there. So this was on the Monday morning when I was heading back, first light, clearly, heading down the Murray Valley Highway just out of Lake Boga. Saw a really nice sunrise happening, saw a silhouetted tree, thought, I think I want to have a piece of that. So I literally pulled off into you'd even barely call it a truck parking area, sort of just a little dirt road off the side of the road, off the main road.
Yeah.
And as the big trucks were rumbling past behind me, got that shot. So it was really cool because just silhouettes. There's something about them. When you get a nice sunrise, a bit of frost, a bit of fog, nothing beats the good old Aussie bush for shots like that.
No, it does not. How come you didn't get the tree reflecting in the puddle there?
There's a tree reflecting in the puddle.
Yeah,
because okay. So right before me there, let me cover my ugly mug up again. Right before me, I'm leaning against a barbed wire fence to get that photo.
That's okay.
And believe me, I looked left and right. How can I get over this thing, without hurting myself? And clearly the farmer didn't want me to be there. So I just.
Is that what barbed wire fence means?
Yes. What is it? Something's the better part of valor or something. Anyway, whatever. I decided to. Excuse me. I decided to stay on my side of the fence and get that shot.
Yeah,
really happy with it. It was one of those ones where you sort of take it and you think, that's going to be pretty cool, and it was.
It's got some beautiful colors in it. So
it's great.
Those early morning pastel colors rock. Sometimes we actually had a sunrise here 2-3 days ago. Just really subtle color, and it was just that sort of pastel-y color. And I actually took some shots off the front deck. Because I thought this is too good not to take a photo of.
Yeah.
I'll never do anything with it, but it was just a nice memory to capture. So
yes, you did. You sent it to me, and it was awesome.
Oh, that's right. I did. I'd send it to you. I said, look at this.
Yeah, you did do something with it.
I did do something. I forgot about that.
Speaking of, went out on a bike ride tonight with our friend Jack, and the sunset. Hi, Jack. The sunset here in Ocean Grove tonight. So we're recording this on Thursday night. This is going to go to air Friday night, but. The sunset tonight was absolutely magnificent. I'm a firm believer that there's about roughly 3 or 4 brilliant sunsets a year, and I reckon tonight was one of them.
Ooh, I reckon there's more than that.
Now, I reckon there's 3. No, there's good sunsets. Don't get me wrong. There's more than that, but there's 3 or 4 absolute crack bangers. That's what the kids say these days.
Bangers.
Yep. Absolute bangers.
Yeah. I think you're right. I always find that if there's weather coming through, like a change of weather or something like that, down here, we get that early morning, what is it? Red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning.
Yes.
We get that, and it goes off down here. I don't know why. Maybe because we're close to water or we've got lots of mountains, but yeah, we get you're probably right. Maybe no more than half a dozen a year where like our bedroom lights up. Like it's actually lit up. Like you're like, what the hell's going on outside? And you go outside and it's just, whoa.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are cool to see, but you got to stop and you got to shoot them.
Well, this is the problem, right? So, and at this time of year, I think sunset here at the moment is like 5:27 or something. Now I lock up the shop at 5 and I had to be at Jack's place at 6 for a bike ride. So you got to shoot home and then you got to quickly catch up with the wife and kids and find out what their day's been like and all that sort of stuff. And then it's out the door. So it's a tough time of year to cram in a sunset shoot. I actually reckon the best time of year is coming spring for sunset because the timing's better normally. Daylight savings kicks in, all that sort of stuff. So I do love a good sunset shoot.
I think I'm going to go the opposite end of the season to you.
Yeah.
I think autumn has the best sunsets because I don't know what it is. Maybe the angle of the sun is a bit different. It's making its way down to being lower in the sky,
Bit lower,
but also
yeah.
a bit lower. But also, what I find, especially down here and maybe a little bit in Victoria as well, is that all the parks and wildlife do a lot of burning off.
Oh, okay.
So you start getting a bit of that sort of smoke in the air and a bit of haze in the air, which sometimes can really help. So
a bit of a filter.
Yeah, no, that's good. Sunsets and sunrises.
Probably, to be honest, probably summer's the best. Look, all year round's good. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah,
we digress.
Down here, you gotta wait till 10 o'clock to get sunset down here. It's ridiculous.
in summer, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't get dark till 10 o'clock.
Let's do it. Let's announce
the
winner of the June photo comp. Now, we did have grand plans to probably run a comp every month. It ain't going to happen. Well, I think we know that. It's probably going to, every couple of months, we'll probably run a photo comp. Mainly because we're busy beavers. We've got a lot going on. We can't sort of dedicate the time to it. Thank you to the 65, 70 plus entries that we received for this, which was absolutely brilliant.
That blew us away a bit, didn't it? We didn't expect that many people.
And so what we did, the way we decided to choose a winner was completely, like, we didn't talk to each other about the photos. Off our own bat, we went ahead and selected our top 5. Cam selected a top 5. I selected a top 5. You might find this hard to believe, but we both chose the exact same 5 images, which was pretty
ridiculous,
pretty crazy. Cam said, "Oh, these are my 5." Did you see my list? And it's like, no, hang on a minute, that's my 5.
Well, we had our list in completely 2 different places. So
it was uncanny. But I think, as good as the entries were, and believe me, the standards were fantastic, and you will get to see some of these because we're going to put out a People's Choice thing in the next week. It was really hard to go past the winner, wasn't it, Cam?
The winner to us, and I think we both, when we saw some of the entries coming in, we both sort of almost said to each other, "Whoa, look at that one! That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And then then our first thing after that was like, "Is that AI? Is this someone? Is that someone setting us up? Maybe they still have set us up. I don't know."
That's right. Well, I'm sure we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. But yeah, it was one of those images that really just jumped off the screen when we both saw it.
Yeah.
But any of the top 5 were amazing. Like, they all could have ranked in that top 1 or 2. There were some amazing shots. Do you want me to give a quick summary of the other 4? Or
no, we'll save that for the People's Choice. I think we're just going to tonight. Sorry, Cam. I think tonight. You look crestfallen.
That's okay.
Without any further ado, the winner of the photo comp for June is this image right here, and it is Barry Povey. A photo that Barry shot on the Mornington Pier, which is across the bay from me. Get a go at that, folks. That's not too bad, is it?
It's incredible. When I saw that pop up on the screen, it was just nuts. And I wish it was actually my photo, because I would have loved to have been standing there. And when we did the workshops the other week down at the Point Lonsdale Pier, we had a couple of those big waves rolling in and things like that. And I was so hoping that something went over the pier, not to wash all the people away, but something that would have been happening on that pier would have been really, really cool to see. So it's an amazing photo. Like, it was all about weather, and I don't think there's a photo that represents weather any more than that. That's Mother Nature at her very angriest. And
I think, like you said, when that popped up in the feed, it straight away in my mind is like, well, that's Clubhouse Leader, and that's going to take a bit of beating. It fits the brief so well. You look at it, and you feel like you're in the middle of a storm when you're looking at that photo. It would be, and isn't it a shame that we have to question whether that's a real photo? But I'm sure it is.
I'm calling it a real photo because, again, I don't think AI can actually create something that's that unique. I think it looks a little bit too real to be AI. So
it's very cool. But think of the publicity we'll get if it's AI. So
imagine that. Australia's leading photography podcast chooses the winner of a photo comp that's AI.
Australia's leading photography podcast that's hosted by a guy in Victoria and a guy in Tasmania. That's right. Exactly. That's what we are.
That's it.
So congratulations, Barry. Barry, you win yourself a $200 voucher to be used at Ocean Grove Camera and Photo. Of course, you can use it online, being that you are based on the other side of the pond over yonder on the Mornington Peninsula. So we'll be in touch with you in the coming week to send you out your voucher. And congratulations. And as I said, the standard of entries was brilliant. So we are going to run over the next couple of weeks a People's Choice Award as well, which will be will we put them all up, or it'll just be our top 5 that we chose?
I think it's top 5. I think if we put
definitely.
them all up, it's going to get a bit hectic.
It's a lot, yes. So we will put the short list up for people to vote on for the People's Choice winner. So congratulations to all of you who made the short list, which you will see over the coming week. So, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, and the public vote or the popular vote will get the winner of that will get $100 voucher. Is that correct? Can Barry win that as well?
Of course he can. Of course he can.
Yeah.
So I think that was a $100 voucher from you, I believe.
That's from me. Yeah, you can use it on my website. They can use it on the Down South Photoshop website.
They could buy a hoodie,
and they could buy a hoodie and a t-shirt and give us an extra $10.
A stubby holder.
yeah.
It would be hilarious if our voucher came back to us.
Well, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's brilliant. It's
a
again,
ripper image. It's a really good image.
Yeah, it's nuts. So well done, Barry.
I think Barry should spend his $200 to getting that done as a massive canvas. If he hasn't already, he's crazy. But I reckon that would look absolutely mint as like a meter by or meter and a half.
A big ass canvas. I'm with you, and I know just the guy that can do it.
Yeah,
perfect. Good stuff. Well done, Barry. So keep an eye out for the comps. We will, as I say, run them probably every couple of months. I think, so we'll probably run one through August and then announce it in September and then run another one in October, announce it in November, etc.
Maybe people in the comments below could give us an idea of what they might like to have the August competition as. This one was weather.
Absolutely.
Maybe give us a few ideas, and maybe we'll pluck an idea as to what the competition in August will be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love seeing people, particularly our listeners, photography. It's brilliant. And as an aside as well, if you ever need advice on a photo that you've taken, drop us a line. We're happy to give you some advice. We don't know if it'll be the right advice or good advice, but we'll certainly give you advice. If you want to send us a photo, you've put a photo up and you go, hang on, something went wrong here. How can I achieve blah, blah, blah? Let us know. Yeah. We'll get back to you eventually.
Yeah. We'll answer you.
We will
somehow.
And then come on a workshop.
Speaking of workshops, oh no, we're not announcing that yet, are we?
We're close.
We're meant to talk about that tonight, weren't we?
Talk about a teaser.
Yeah, talk about a teaser. We'll talk about it after the episode about what
we will talk about it after the episode, and we will announce probably next week. It's just announcement central here on the Down South Photo Show.
It is a bit, isn't it? We should probably get back into talking about photography though.
Let's do that. The main topic for discussion tonight, following on, what a segue, is weather. Whether you can be bothered taking photos or not. Is that what it is? Or
yeah, exactly. No, I think this is we've probably touched on this a few times over the last 80 odd episodes.
Yes.
But I think it'd be nice to have a bit more of an in-depth discussion around why, and this is exactly why Barry's won $200 to use it a camera. Photo. What is it? Photo and camera? Where do you work again? Photo, camera, and photo. Actually, Grove.
That's fine.
Because the most dramatic shots and the most interesting shots, in my opinion, always happen in unusual, bad, crappy, shitty, moody weather. So many times you sort of see people out with their cameras and they pack their bag to go out for a big camera day, and it's bright blue skies and sunshine the whole way. That's lovely, and you're going to get some nice shots about that. You might get a nice sunrise or a sunset. But if you really want to me, in my opinion, if you really want to up your game in landscape photography, you need to shoot when the weather's not playing its nicest, because that's where you get those incredible storm shots that Barry's got there. If you look through our Facebook page with all the weather shots that we got, all the amazing shots were during really gnarly weather. And that's, the shot behind me, the shot behind you, it's all when the weather's sort of doing its best. So I think what people need to do is have a bit more faith in the fact that you can go out in weather and not, you might get a bit wet, you might get a bit cold, you might get a bit dirty, but that's where you're going to really start to up your game as a landscape photographer. And that's one thing I learned a few years back, is that all the great shots I got were really in the most gnarliest weather, where I had to put myself out in Mother Nature with my camera, hanging on for, dear life, to get those shots. And, whether or not it's, like I said, snow, or whether or not it's dusty storms or outback or whatever it might be, when you're out and about in the weather, that's when it becomes real easy just to create really dramatic shots. So I think it's important, and that's what I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about tonight. I know you would agree, most likely, wholeheartedly.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, it's the whole point, isn't it? And you're completely right in what you say. Particularly when we run our workshops and stuff, we get a little bit disappointed if it's just wall to wall blue sky.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That's a drag. And then we sort of look forward to first light, last light, because that's when the light is at its obviously most dramatic and all that sort of stuff. But there's a lot to be said for chasing a storm, or for, I love it when a storm's coming, because I know that there's going to be some great light, and there's going to be some dramatic light. And I think so. Generally speaking, when it comes to giving tips for shooting in bad weather, it's not always overly necessary to have like a weatherproof camera, for example. You got to be a little bit careful with your camera in rain if it's not a weather sealed camera system. But some of the best photos I've ever seen, you can tell that the photographer was hammered by the conditions. An example is, this is throwing things back a fair way, I think it was like 2010. I was at the Summer Apostles and I was taking some photos. It was on Anzac Day 2010. And I was with a mate of mine. We were there with our families, just having a little long weekend on Anzac long weekend. And we said, nah, bugger it, let's go out and take some photos. The weather could not have been worse. It was hailing. Like, we were literally crouching down behind little shrubs to get out of hail that was stinging our heads. Luckily we left the kids at home, but we were out there. And that day I hands down got probably the best shot of the 12 Apostles I've ever taken. Because the ocean was rolling in, and the sky was dark behind, and like the weather was coming in fronts, like you could see it coming across, and then you'd get a burst of light between the clouds, and you'd go out and take shots. And it's really exciting, that kind of photography, I find.
I agree, and I loved it. Like I sort of now, like, with people I shoot around down here in Hobart, like, come on, Cam, let's go out and do something on the weekend. I'm like, weather looks too nice. What do you mean? I'm like, it's just sunny and boring. Like, let's wait till this big low front comes through, or this massive snowstorm, and let's get out there. We'll go out the night before, and we'll get out there. We'll get up really early. And most of the people that I've gone out with, and like friends and stuff like that, you can see it. Like, there's a little light bulb moment in their head. It's like, oh, right, this is how he gets these shots. Because, I know Chelsea and I, we went out to Lake Pedder, which is down in the southwest of Tassie. It's about a 2.5 hour drive. And we went there once after a massive snowstorm, and we had the most incredible light. The storm had just passed, so everything was fresh, white. And I reckon I got some of the best photos I've ever taken. We just couldn't stop shooting. There was just a shot on every corner we went to. But if we'd not done that, if we'd thought, oh, let's give it another day once that weather passes, and then we'll go out there, some of the snow would have been melted. You would have lost that light. There's something about weather that freshens up the environment as well, the atmosphere.
100%. Yeah.
You said.
You get that smell in the air, pretty much.
You do.
It's brilliant.
When you said those fronts were coming through at the Summer Apostles, like, that's clearing the air out, and then you're getting this fresh air with light hitting it through. It's like the most purest light you can really get. So, and I think what you touched on before about weatherproofing of cameras, I think that is probably one of the biggest hurdles that people don't go out in weather to shoot, because they're ultra careful about their gear, and rightly so. It's expensive gear that you're using, but most of the brands these days have quite a pretty high end weather sealing on their cameras. So the only thing I would say to people is that, especially with Barry's shot there, like, if he's getting sprayed with salt water all the time, that's going to cause some issues for his camera. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself from any sort of salt water or things like that. But if it's just rain and stuff like that, as long as you can keep it relatively dry, make it dry off and clean later on, then you can really shoot through most conditions. And so I would say to people, trust a bit more, maybe take that little leap of faith with your camera and say, look, you know what? I reckon I can go out in a bit more of a rainstorm or snow and actually use my camera a bit more, because that's what they're built for. That's what they're made for, is to take photos in all types of conditions. Yeah. So,
and I've just quickly jumped on our friends DigiDirect's website just to have a look at rain covers for cameras. They start at $20. So there's no excuses. You know, you can protect your gear pretty cheaply. I've actually seen people use plastic bags, literally.
Shower cap,
plastic bag with a little hole cut into it that they tape to the edge of their filter. Yep. It's a great idea. And, you know, your camera's going to be fine. I get frustrated, particularly if we're on a workshop and the rain starts coming and people put their cameras away. So what are you doing? No. This is when your camera comes out. This is when it stays out, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to get, no, it won't. It'll be fine. It'll take you tripping over and dropping the thing in the ocean, really, for to do any damage to it. A little bit of fresh water is not going to hurt it.
Maybe there's something on that, like, you know, like the camera manufacturers, they bring out their cameras, you know, they plug the hell out of all the features that these cameras have, you know, megapixels, frames per second, whatever it might be. They always say that, you know, these cameras are weatherproof, but they obviously, for insurance purposes and stuff like that, warranty purposes, they don't go out and say, hey, you know what, you can use this in the rain, it's okay, you're going to be fine. They don't give a definite answer to that. Like with maybe the one exception where Olympus sort of actually encourage people to, you know, try and trash their cameras in a way, because they show you all the things that they can be used for. But a lot of the other brands don't necessarily, like, weatherproofing is just a footnote. Yeah, it's weatherproof to this level.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
There's a lot of caveats on it though, because you will get, you know, it happens. People will be, you know, into the taking a photo. It's a bit of drizzle, and they decide to change a lens. You know, that will happen, and you know, you'll get water on your sensor or something, God forbid, and or on the electronics, the internals of the camera. So I guess
there needs to be a bit of common sense, doesn't there?
Of course,
there needs to be a bit of common sense, but that's everything though. But I would maybe like to see camera brands maybe just give a little bit more leeway on, you know, what's acceptable with their cameras. You know, they don't say take them out and run them under a shower and stuff like that. But you're right, like, you know, if you're going to take it off and point it to the sky and it's pouring rain into your sensor, then that's just not going to help. But maybe I'm just having a look now, like, for example, on the Sony side, I'm just trying to see what they say, because I've never really seen any other camera brands say anything but weatherproof. Yeah. Like, they don't say weatherproof to this sort of level, or but I think, getting back to the weather, it's when you're going to really see your images start stepping up. And all you got to do, people, is just go have a look at the really good landscape photographers in Australia or around the world, wherever they might be, whoever you follow as a landscape photographer. I can guarantee that 99% of their shots are taken during weather events.
Yeah.
They're not taken on, you know, there might be that brilliant sunrise or sunset, but the rest of them will be dramatic clouds or dramatic light or dramatic conditions. And, you know, that's there's a reason why their photos are looking so good about that. It's because they shoot all the time. Doesn't matter where.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we, as I say, as good landscape photographers, that's what you live for. And there's no such thing as bad weather. It's just bad gear. So, you know, keep a rain hood with your camera bag. Keep you know, an umbrella if you want to. And the other thing is, like, we're not talking, you don't have to hike 6 days on the overland track, for example. You know, there are places where you can park and walk, you know, 20 meters to a good lookout or somewhere when the conditions are bad and you've got your car quite close by. You know, I would comfortably leave a camera on a tripod, you know, away from my car 15 meters and sit in the car and use my phone to take the photos, you know, connected via the app. I don't think those features on cameras these days are utilized nearly enough by photographers, particularly by amateurs. You know, people forget. This is completely aside, but one day here at our place, we had some birds nesting in a tree, and I could hear the babies in there. So what I did was I got my camera and I mounted it on a monopod, and I extended the monopod as far as I could, and then reached my camera up while looking at the app on my phone to look into the nest to see the baby birds. Things. Using that kind of technology to your advantage also helps a lot when you're shooting bad weather. Stick the bloody camera on a tripod on the roof of your car. Awesome. You're right there with it, and you'll stay connected via your phone, and you can take photos from the comfort of your bloody driver's seat.
So I think that's another side of it. Not only is it the gear people are worried about. I'm gonna probably upset a few people. And it's been a while before I've upset
you people. Upset people, Cameron.
Well, it's been a few, but I think people are a bit soft, to be honest. Like I've seen it on workshops. I've seen it when I've been out in my own weather doing stuff, and people go, "Oh, I know it's raining. Better get back to the car." Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, where are you going? This is the best part.
What's the worst that could happen? You get wet.
Yeah.
It is funny. It's human nature, though, Cam. To shelter
is.
from the elements, and we get that. And it's funny though, because on the flip side, I have stuck it out in some pretty bad conditions, and they just never improved. Not just got nothing and got drowned.
Like walking the overland track.
Well, there was that, but other times I remember one time specifically, I was over at Point Lonsdale, and I went over there for the sunrise, and the weather was just crap, like appalling. Rain fronts coming across, and it was just sheeting rain, and that was just silly. And I went out in it, and I'm stood there, and I'm like, I've got my raincoat on or whatever. I've got my camera like cowered over my camera bag trying to get these photos, and it wasn't happening. So it doesn't always, lead to great photos, but you got to put yourself out there.
There is that always happened. Like there is a time where you go, okay, this is just stupid. Like it's not getting better. We're not getting any light. We're just sitting here getting hypothermia. Yep. I was just going to say on the Flinders Rangers workshop, I'm not going to name names or dob anyone in, but we had one guest on there who the first couple of days we had a little bit of rain, which is great. We had all that mood in the mountains that I showed last week. And one of the customers got their camera out and then just had this umbrella over the top of them as I was shooting. And like you see all things on workshops, that's not unusual. That's something that happens quite frequently. But the one thing I noticed with this guest was that every time they tried to take a photo, they're trying to hold this umbrella and take the photo. And Dan, 5-star Dan, who came along, I said, Dan, just hold that umbrella for them. Will you just hold it above their head, and I'll do the same while they're taking photos. But the first thing I said to him, I said, do you realize, like, yes, your camera's weatherproof, so don't stress about that. But do you realize how much awkwardness you're creating in taking a good quality photograph by having this other bit of mechanism that you're trying to balance and not get wet? Yeah. I said, it's not working. It's actually holding your photography back. If you do this every time you go out when it's raining, then I can guarantee that your shots will be out of focus or shaky or lopsided, all these extra things that you're going to have to do to try and fix them. And I said, look, just trust the camera. It's not bucketing down rain. It was only sort of drizzle, if anything. I said, we're happy to hold the umbrella for you, but I reckon we put it away and I reckon we just get into it. And they did. To their credit, we barely saw the umbrella again for the rest of the trip. But just watching this customer, it's just like, I looked at Daniel, I'm like, this is not how you take photographs. This is causing you grief. And if this is a frustration of yours with your photography, then that's one of the things already I can fix for you to get it sorted out. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
One other thing that came to mind while you're talking there was shooting after rain. Yes, rain freshens everything up, but what rain actually does is wets everything down, and the light just pops off those surfaces then, like literally highly reflective surfaces where the light is really popping off. So particularly like old jetties and things like that, when the boards get wet, they can really start to reflect the light really, really well. You can see, actually, you could see in that photo that won our comp, the jetty was wet, and it's really added a lot more atmosphere to the shot. Getting out and getting yourself cold and wet and miserable works for your photos.
Something else I'll add on to that as well is something I worked out a few years ago, is that weather repeats itself. So there's certain things that happen, through each season of the year, you're going to get certain colors and conditions and stuff like that. But one thing that I've noticed with doing in weather photography as well is that, days that have rain showers. So if you have like like an off and on shower, or whatever they call it, sunny with some showers or something, whatever they might call it. if you can find yourself a nice location that's got some forest, then what happens is the rain comes over, it saturates the forest. The sun comes out, heats the forest up. All the steam out of the forest pops up. There's your shot. Bang, bang, bang. Next bit of shower comes through, heat there, wets it again, and up comes the steam, another shot. So you can actually start to predict what sort of shots you're going to get before they happen. And like I said, things like in autumn, if they're doing burning off or stuff like that, you know you're going to get those really vibrant and brilliant sort of sunrise or sunsets with all the smoke or haze in the air. You know, snow, like we said, you know, you get beautiful shots in the snow if you just wait that little bit longer for the storm to pass over. So there's things that happen with weather that if you study enough or just take note of it, I think it does really help your photography as well. If you have a, you know, even if it's a 50% inkling of what's going to happen with that scene you got with the weather coming through, you're in a better spot than the person sitting on the couch at home, not going out at all. So
yeah, that's right. I mean, how many times though, Cam, have you been to any location, and you've done a lot of traveling, particularly in Australia? You know, you come to a location like the one behind me, for example. I mean, how good would that look with a massive storm cloud behind it, or
or lightning bolts hanging off them,
or you know, even a rainbow or something? You know, just simple compositions can become really hard hitting and complex compositions with the right conditions. There's so much to be said for it. So I think the point we're driving home here, folks, is don't be a fair weather photographer.
No, I say that all the time. I'm gonna ask you a question without notice.
I like questions without notice.
So what do you got at the moment? The OM5, is that right?
My main shooter, yes, is the OM5.
Yep. So if push came to shove, if you were somewhere, for example, right behind you or where I was or where we've been talking about it,
yep.
If push came to shove where the weather was absolutely smashing your camera and you knew your camera was going to be destroyed and unusable, but the shot you were going to get was going to be unbelievable, would you sacrifice your camera for the shot?
That's a no-brainer. Of course I'd sacrifice my camera for the shot. I have done. I've sacrificed gear for shots heaps of times. It just happens. Like it. Yeah. The gear's replaceable. The shot you will never get again. So that's an easy one to answer without notice.
See, I reckon that if we put that to the audience, what people would you sacrifice a camera for a once in a lifetime shot?
Yep.
Would you? I reckon it'd be almost 50-50.
Yeah.
Because I think some people people are
I have more faith in that now, listeners. I reckon I'm going to be 75-25. That they would sacrifice their camera. Well, I mean, obviously it depends on the photo, right? But
obviously, and we'd obviously don't want to sacrifice them. It's just the camera. Yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah.
But I'd love to hear people what they say, because
I think we could do a poll.
Maybe we'll put a poll on the Facebook page.
Yes,
I might do that. We'll do that tomorrow because I've got nothing else to do. But I reckon it'd be interesting because I reckon in my experience, some people might say, you know what? I've paid 10 grand for this camera kit. No, I'm not wrecking it. Sorry.
No, I don't care. I really don't. Gear. I love photography gear. I really do, but I don't love it that much. If it's getting in the way of me getting the shot, I don't care. I'll sacrifice it. No brainer.
See, I don't know.
No, I think mate, I would sacrifice a $50,000 large format camera for the photo. It wouldn't worry me at all, as long as I was guaranteed to get the shot.
But why would you sacrifice it though? Like, is the photo going to recoup your loss by?
No. Moot point. It's got nothing to do with the money. It's got to do with getting the shot, and that's what it's all about. You know that, mate. It's you know, it gets in your blood. It really does. And when you're chasing photos, there's not a lot that I won't do for a photo, within reason and within the law. You know, I mean, like, you know, for example, like I didn't jump that barbed wire fence. I wanted to. Don't you worry. And I even thought about sticking the drone up to get that shot, but I was a bit under the pump time wise. But I would sacrifice a drone instantly for a photo as long as I got the memory card back.
I would sacrifice a drone before I sacrificed a camera, I reckon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a good question. It was funny, actually. It reminds me of a story from a long, long time ago. I was with this girl. We were walking through Kakadu National Park
with a girl. Is this before marriage?
It was my girlfriend at the time, who is different to the person that's now my wife. So anyway, we're walking through Kakadu. It was like the mid-90s, And anyway, we were on a little boardwalk by a swamp, and of course we looked down and here's these eyes looking at us, and it was a fairly sizable crocodile. And I was
Did you push her
not
and run off?
I was not as into my photography as she was. She was a very keen photographer, and she had a Pentax ME Super, and she loved that thing.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I said, if that croc all of a sudden charged at me, would you smash it over the head with that camera? You know what she said? She went, oh, this camera. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
that's how it is, right?
So that's why the relationship ended just after you got back.
Well, that's right. So, well, that's why she's. Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, it was funny because just the way that she treasured that camera so much. She was like, well, maybe I'd get the shot first.
Yeah. Well, did you see there was a croc up in Darwin the other day, up at Lynchfield National Park?
Oh, right.
In Wangi Falls, which is where we go on our Kakadu trip.
Good spot.
We generally go swimming there, but maybe not this time.
It'd be a freshie, wouldn't
it? Probably. I don't know. It was a big one.
They don't hurt you.
But anyway, a bit of a caveat on that as well. We do not take any responsibility for you destroying your camera in weather.
That's right. Do not send us a receipt for your new camera.
We encourage that you get out and take more shots in the weather, but we don't tell you to do it. And we don't advise sacrificing cameras to get the shot.
Yeah. No,
that's
absolutely.
on you. Which brings us probably up to another topic about insurance of cameras. Maybe we can talk about that next week. I don't know.
Apparently, Christopher Nolan trashed 2 IMAX cameras making Oppenheimer.
Oh, I want to see that. I can't wait for it.
Who doesn't? It looks amazing. Yeah. So
I've got a conundrum going on in my house at the moment.
Okay.
So it's school holidays. I've got a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, and a wife that's not much older. And so there's Barbie.
That sounds so wrong.
It's Barbie. Don't want to see Barbie.
No.
Last night we went and saw Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Actually pretty cool. I don't know much about Spider-Man as such, but the way that this was done was really cool. But then we've got Indiana Jones and Oppenheimer. And I'm like, I want to see them both.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to see them with kids necessarily. I might take the kids to see Indiana Jones. They do like Indiana Jones.
All right. This has got nothing to do with photography, but I went and saw the new Indiana Jones movie last week.
Don't tell me.
No, all I'm going to say is do yourself a favor. Just go see it. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. No spoilers. No spoilers. It's a good movie. It's a return to form for the Indiana Jones franchise, and I hate that saying, but it's a return to form for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, that had nothing to do with photography, but anyway, that's our weather topic.
We're now doing film reviews.
Here we are. So we've got specific segments of this show. One that we haven't talked about for a while is Gear Talk. We will come back to Gear Talk in the coming weeks. Dear Cam is our most popular segment by far. So if you have a Dear Cam question, by all means send it to us. We don't have one this week. That's why we're saying, please send us in a question for Dear Cam. We'd love to hear from you and put Cam's knowledge and my knowledge to the test. Beer donations this week, Cam, please. Drum roll, please.
Yeah, well, actually, let me just I'm partaking. I'm drinking Summersby cider at the moment.
Nice. Well, it's not cider donations, Cam. It's beer donations.
Well, it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
No, okay. So we had a beer donation from Mel H and Jenny C. They seem to be competing against each other, these two.
That's right. Yeah, we're not going to stop them.
No, we're not arguing. Yeah, fight to the death when you're buying us beers and ciders. But thank you. But if you'd like to buy us a beer, you can go to dsps.com.au and go to the buy us a beer section, and you can buy us a beer or buy us both a beer, buy a jug or a slab.
How's the plugging from Mr. Blake tonight? Doing well.
Yeah, I just had it open on the screen. That's all.
Oh, perfect, nice.
I've got my cousin Daniel, 5-star Daniel. We mentioned him before.
5-star Dan.
He's now sent me a message. I just sent him his new uniform in the mail the other day.
Lovely.
Even though he had one on the Flinders Rangers, I thought he's about the same size as me. He goes, "No, I'm not. I'm much bigger than you." I'm like, "No, you're not. Don't worry." So I took a large. It was like a swimming suit on him. So I've sent him up there today, and then he's just sent me a selfie of himself playing netball. So I don't know what's going on with Dan, but
right.
He doesn't listen, so feel free to hang
It's
as much shit on him as you like.
it's 2023, Cam. That's
Yes.
all I'll say about that.
Yes, it is. No.
What do you got coming up, Mr. Blake?
What have I got? I've got a little bit of time off. My next little adventure is an OM day, one of the Olympus days. We're going to Port Arthur.
Wonderful.
We're going to spend a day down there, which would be great. And then
talk about good light. There always seems to be good light there.
Yes, there is, isn't there? I don't know. There is something about Port Arthur, good and bad. But there is something down there that the light. I don't know. There's something. I think it's the buildings. I think the color works really well with the buildings.
Yeah,
down
I think
there.
you're right. The red brick buildings and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
It's a good contrast to the landscape around it, I guess.
The last time I was down there, I was with our good friend Glenn Lavender.
You were, and he was doing a Tamron shoot, wasn't he?
He was doing a Tamron shoot, and he was lying down on the ground, almost in a puddle, getting the reflection of the old prison,
which has made the cut for their website and brochure.
Yeah, does it really? Huh.
It has. Well, I think that was their APS-C 10 to 20. We could have done a quick gear talk because Sony have finally released the A6700.
I did. I saw that. Do we want to talk about it? Do you know much about it?
No, not really. I don't know much about it. I just know that it's been released, and it's a kick-ass little camera. Huge fan of Sony's APS-C lineup. Everyone raves about their full frame stuff. Brilliant, whatever. It's too expensive. We all know that. But their APS-C lineup is very, very good.
Right.
And the features that A6700 packs is phenomenal. Really high praise for that little camera. And it will keep all those APS-C Sony users happy because they thought the A6600 was the end of the line. 4 years later, bang, Sony drop a 6700 to keep them all excited.
Here's something I did the other day on a whim, because I do stupid shit like that. So I've got my little Leica. I like my little Leica, and it's good fun to play with. I've got my Olympus, and I've got all these other cameras I play with. But I went and actually rented a camera.
Okay,
it's the first time I've ever rented a camera in my life, and I can't say the specifics of who I rented off. It's through Camera Corp or whoever they're called. But what I did, I actually went and rented the Leica M6, the film camera.
Brilliant.
And it's a minimum 6 month rental. So you pay whatever it is.
It's a what?
Minimum 6 month rental.
6 months?
Yeah, minimum.
How do they get away with that?
I don't know. They just
do. Rent it for 6 days, not friggin' 6 months. So I could buy it in 6 months.
I don't mind it. Well, this is the thing. Like, for those who don't know how it works, you get a camera, then after 6 months you can offer to buy it, and they give you like a depreciation rate, stuff like that.
Okay. It's like a rent to buy kind of thing.
Yeah, or you can give it back after 6 months.
Oh, well, that's not so bad.
It's not too bad. So anyway, I got it in the mail the other day, and I'm putting a roll of film through it. But it's actually, I think it's an interesting option to rent gear. You can rent lenses, bodies, cameras, whatever you want to do.
This sounds like a whole nother podcast to me.
It does, and I think we might touch on it maybe next week. Renting gear and
rolling into episode 87.
Yeah, let's just double up.
I like it.
So yeah, it's interesting, and I'm playing with it, and it's good fun.
I don't mind. Was it new?
Brand new.
How do these companies work? It's fascinating, isn't it? There's so many ways that you can make a dollar.
There's so many ways you can screw over the small camera shop.
Oh no, it's interesting. We will talk about that next week. I like it. Ask me what I'm doing, Cam.
Hey, Brens.
Yes, mate.
What are you doing? What's going up? What's going on?
I'm glad you asked. No, not a lot. Actually, it's business as usual. And might I just say, I've got the greatest customers in the world. The support my little camera shop is getting is absolutely brilliant. Particularly in the last couple of months, it's been fantastic. We relocated.
Time out for a sec. Time out.
Yes.
In the last couple of months, it's been great.
Yes.
Is that the same sort of last couple of months that I've popped in a few times?
Yeah, the coincidence is uncanny, really. I mean, yeah, it could be, Cam. It could be.
Sorry.
You would run a very good camera shop if you could be bothered. But no, I've got some really good support, particularly from locals, but also from people who are jumping on my website and ordering their prints and having me send them to them all over Australia, which is really cool. So
That's awesome.
I love doing that because I get to see some cool photos and yeah, it's been a really busy time over the last couple of months. So I'm very appreciative. It's been great, and I'm looking forward to getting my teeth into more of that over the next coming weeks. So that's me, and then of course it's the downhill run until the Murray Melly workshop in October. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
I think next year we rename it because it's really hard to say the Murray Melly
workshop. That's right. Yeah, we'll see. The Melly
workshop.
Just say
Northwest Victoria.
Lake Tyrrell.
I must say that the 2 or 3 times I've been in your shop of late, you do have great customers. They all know you. They all come and say g'day. It's a bit like this show. It's a really great little community. They all come in and, hey, Brendan, how you going? And it's a bit like, I'm going to say it's almost like the Cheers of the camera shops, because everyone knows what's going on. You know what they're doing.
Everyone knows their name. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know who you are. You Norm, maybe?
Well, probably.
The barfly.
My midriff at the moment would say that I was definitely Norm, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm on a
actually.
Apart from drinking cider, I'm just going to start. I need to lose it.
Someone once told me I look like Woody Harrelson, so maybe I'm him. I'm not sure.
I saw Spider-Man: The Spider-Verse, where it's all these different dimensions and things. Maybe you're a Woody Harrelson in a different dimension.
Maybe. And I definitely can't jump. That's it. That's the podcast. Unless you've got anything else to add, Mr. Blake.
No, I don't think I could talk much more shit.
Okay. And no power outages this week.
No, my internet went a bit glitchy though a couple of times.
I did notice, but that's all right. We battled through. Nobody noticed it, Cam. Don't worry about it.
Oops. Sorry. Perfect. Fine. All good.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We will see you all for episode 87 of the Down South Photo Show next week. Bye for now.
Hooroo.
Oh, he did it. Hooroo. Hey.